Hey everyone, it is Jonah and I am back with another video, and today I'm going to be going through the Voice Power Rankings, the top 20 rankings, and I'm thinking about doing other videos too before the live shows, maybe like just each individual teams and who I think is going to get which spot, because I think that what they're gonna keep doing the format where they all sing, and then you have each team gets an America's pick, and then after that happens, and then the coach gets to pick one more person. That's two on each team. And then the third place vote getter on each team, they'll all sing in this and saves. I'm pretty sure they're going to cut from 17 to 9. That's going to be a really bad cut for me this season because there's so many talented people, and I am a huge fan of a lot of these people. And these rankings that for the top 20 were honestly probably some of the hardest things that I've had to do on this channel yet, just because there's so many talented people, and I don't want to get hate for putting somebody too low or too high. But honestly, like in my opinion, there's so many good talented people, and everyone, in my opinion, everyone has a chance to make it through to the top 9 this season, which is very surprising to me. You don't see that a lot. I mean, out of the previous 2 seasons, there was people who I wasn't quite sure about, and I was just thinking in my head like they're not going to make it through just because of something, right? But I'm thinking that this is going to be a really amazing live show. And yeah, but before I get into this video, I wanted to tell you guys that, especially with how many performances there's going to be Monday night, I think there's going to be 17 total performances. There's a chance that I may not watch this until a week after it happens. So I'm a college student. I'm a freshman at K-State University, and we are currently in dead week or finals review week this week. And then next week is going to be finals week. So I'm not quite sure how much time I'm going to have to do a lot of these reaction videos and these power ranking videos. But I'm going to try to react as many as I can. But I just don't think that I'm going to be able to react to as much as I would like to this next week with finals and stuff. I have 4 tests that I'm going to be studying for the rest of this week and into next week. So I'm just not quite sure how much time I'm going to have. So if that happens, please stay with me. I'll be getting up, as soon as I can, I'll be getting up videos for you guys. So just with tests and then packing up my dorm room, I'm not going to have a lot of time. So but thank you guys for staying with me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so before we get this video, if you guys like The Voice and like my videos, please feel free to subscribe down below for more content. I would greatly appreciate it. Then without further ado, let's jump right into this video. So before I get into these top 20 power rankings, I just want to say that the bottom 4 are going to be everyone in the 4-way knockout, just because they're technically not even on the top. They're not into the live show part yet, so I can't put them any higher than that, just because I don't know it, because we aren't even sure which one of them is going to make it through or not. So how can I put one above somebody else if they're already in and they're not? So that's why all the 4-way knockout winners are going to be lower on this list. And then, so what I was basing this off of, so what I did was I watched the blinds, the battle, in the knockout of every single person in the top 20 before making this video, just so I can refresh my brain and make a very good updated power rankings with everybody in my head recently. And then I kind of went through and thought, okay, which team kind of has more lenience to people who, which team is the best for one thing, which team can kind of have, which team has similar artists, you know, which team has country tends to get a lot of votes on this show, and then who just stands out to me and who just has that star quality about them. And just previous voting patterns, it's another thing that I was looking at. I'll mention that when I get to some people specifically. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into this video. So coming in at 20 is Emma Caroline. She's good, she's talented, but she just doesn't have the confidence yet. And I think that she came on this show a little too early. I think that she needs to work on her craft a bit more, gain more confidence, do more gigs, get on the stage a bit more, and then go back and maybe try American Idol or try another singing show just to get herself out more. Because I think that it is going to come to an end for her tonight, for her here. I thought that she's not bad. I just think that the other 3 knockouts were kind of, other 3 4-way knockouts were kind of on another level compared to her, and I think that that's going to be what ends up costing her a trip to the top 17. So yeah, coming in at 19, I have Devin Blake Jones. So I know I kind of gave him a lot of backlash because I thought that Bradley Sinclair deserved the save over him, but honestly, like, he did a great job here. I loved the falsetto notes that he was doing. He chose a great song. It really showcased his voice. And I thought he had a very nice presence on stage. I mean, the only issue is that Carolina and Savannah killed it also, and I think that Devin will end up coming in third here with the votes. So, yeah. But I think he has a chance for second place, too. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Devin sneaks out a win here. Just my personal opinion, I think that Devin was my third favorite of the 4 knockouts. So, yeah. Coming in at 18, I have Carolina Real. So, with Carolina, she's amazing. She's a very big voice. I personally thought that she should have won her battle round versus Rio. I liked her voice a little bit more, and I didn't think she was trying to force any maturity out of her voice. She was just she's showing off her amazing voice. She wasn't doing the weird vowel shape thing that Rio did. So my personal opinion is that Carolina should even have been in this 4-way knockout, because she should have been in the show. She should have been in an actual knockout with a chance to move on to the top 17 without having to get America's vote to get into first, in my opinion. But it's what it is. I think that Carolina will have a good chance to move on. The only issue is that Savannah Woods just absolutely killed it, to my opinion. Savannah has been one of my favorites on this show this season. I love the kind of rocky, raspy tone that she has. It's very unique, and I think that if she moves on, there's a chance that she'll make it through the top 9. But I mean, with how stacked Kelly's team is, there's a chance that she won't. And honestly, like, if I was picking between these 4, but who had the best chance to move on to the top 9, if they were to get there, it would be Devin Blake Jones, because Carolina Real has to deal with Victor and Riley, and then obviously Savannah Woods has to deal with all 4 of Kelly's artists being absolutely fantastic, and then Emma would have to deal with Cam, Anna, Jordan's country, so he'll probably already get more votes than Emma would, and then Devin Blake Jones. My opinion, Team Nick is probably the weakest team this year, just overall. So that's why I kind of have Devin. That's why I think I would have the best chance to make the top 9 if they were to make it into the top 17. So yeah. So coming in at 16. So now we're on to people who are already in to the live shows. They will definitely be singing. And 16 is going to be Andrew Marshall. And like I said, literally everybody in this rankings could make it to the top 9, in my opinion. And this was probably some of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make with people, because I love Andrew's voice. He has a very nice presence on stage. I loved his battle. I thought he won it. And then in his knockout, I thought it was a pretty even battle. I probably would have picked Pete maybe by like a tad. And I love that Nick chose to steal Andrew back on his team, because I honestly feel like Nick made the wrong decision by picking Rain over Andrew. I thought that Andrew just did a teeny bit of a better job in the battle round. And I think Andrew's tone is absolutely amazing. And it's just going to be something to watch out for. I'm not quite sure with him just yet. I want to hear a teeny bit more from him in the live shows. I want to hear more of what his voice can do before I put him any higher in my power rankings. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see him in the top 9. So, yeah. So coming in at 15, I have Jose Figueroa Jr. And the only reason why he's this low is because they montaged his knockout. And historically, in the knockouts, or on the seasons of the show, whenever they montage an artist in the knockouts, they tend to not do well in the live shows, just because their voice just wasn't getting out there more, and they didn't get a fan base for the knockout rounds, and people didn't hear another song from them as they did, because we basically only heard 2 songs from Jose, while we've heard 3 from most of the other artists, right? So that's why I have him low. Historically, they don't do well in the live shows. I know, for example, Reed Umstead, they montaged his knockout, and I thought that he could have been in the finale, and he went home in the live shows, right? And that's just one example. There's plenty of examples, and I just think that Jose's voice is absolutely amazing. Love his presence on stage. His runs are amazing. I just think he will have to fight for that top 9. I think that he will be a 3rd place vote getter on Team Nick, and I think that he will have to fight for the instant save here for sure, but we'll see what happens. So yeah. Coming in at 14, we have Pia Renee. Pia is another person who I was probably underrating for a lot of the show, and the only reason why I have her low is because Zanea is on her team also, and in my opinion, Zendaya and Pia, they have really, really similar voices and they have similar vibes too. They're both soulful artists. And I think that because of that, they're going to split that vote on Team John. And it's going to make them not get as many votes as Victor or Riley would, because they're more in their own lane on Team John, while Zendaya and Pia are kind of in a similar lane. And that's why I think Pia's gonna, and I think Pia may get the short end of the stick when it comes to voting. I think Zendaya is a teeny bit better, and so I think that Pia will end up going home here just because of that splitting vote thing. I love Pia's voice, though. I'm a huge fan of it, and but I do think she's gonna go home. But if she makes it through, I would not be surprised at all. So yeah. Then coming in at 13, I have Pete Morose, and this is actually kind of lower than I thought I was going to put him, because I'm actually a pretty big fan of Pete. He's one of my favorites on the show this season. I love his really high tone, and I think that him and Blake make a perfect combo. They were literally on a band growing up, and even though he's so low, I kind of have a gut feeling that Blake's going to use his coach's pick on Pete Morose, because they kind of have that history. Going back a little bit, right? And I do think that Blake is a big fan of Pete's voice, and kind of maybe thinks that he, I don't know, maybe kind of owes it to Pete in a way to keep him on the show, just to give him more and more exposure. That's just my personal thoughts on that. But I love Pete's voice. He's a very nice storyteller, a very amazing voice, and I think it's going to be close for him into the top 9. But I think that he will be in the top 9. So yeah. Coming in at 11, or at 12, not 11. Coming in at 12, I have Jordan Matthew Young, another guy from Team Blake. He is the country artist for Blake's team, and honestly, this could go one of two ways. Jordan can end up splitting votes with Kenzie for the country vote, making Jordan's votes not as much as maybe a Pete or a Cam or an Anna would, or it won't matter, and they'll give both Jordan and Kenzie votes, and Jordan will skyrocket up to probably to the third place vote if he doesn't get the coach's pick, which honestly I wouldn't be surprised at all if Blake gives Jordan the coach's pick also, just because he is country, and Blake probably needs a country artist on his team this year, even though Anna is close. But yeah, so this is going to be very interesting to me to see what happens with Blake's team, because I think that Blake's team is definitely one to watch. I think that they're probably the second most intriguing team that I've seen this season, of maybe like all 4 of them have a chance to move on to the top 9, just like Kelly's team. So yeah. Coming in at 11, we have Zendaya Alakai. So, like I said a little bit earlier, her and Pia are probably going to end up splitting votes for John's team, which is going to hurt Zendaya a little bit. But I think that Zendaya is going to get that third place vote. I think that she will have to sing in the instant save, and it may be close. And I think that she'll have a shot at it. I'm just not sold yet on her. And I mean, her knockout was absolutely amazing. One of the best knockouts of the season, in my opinion. And I was definitely underrating her. She surprised me a lot. I just want to see another performance just like that, and I think that may skyrocket her to the top 9. But we'll see. Coming in at 10, this is going to be the first person from Team Kelly. So notice that I have all 4 of Kelly's artists I have in my top 10, because I think they're amazing. Kelly's team is probably one of the best teams going into the lives I've ever seen. So we'll see though. So coming at 10, I have Johanna Zoe, and Johanna's amazing. She really surprised me in the knockout with how much emotion she was able to put into that song, and it took me back a little bit because I was just surprised by it, because Anna came in with a very weird take on If I Die Young, and she did it well. Then you had Johanna come in, and she killed it too. I think that Johanna has a very big voice for her age, and she's somebody to watch out for on the show. But it's just that she's on Kelly's team, and I think that she may be the weakest of the 4 on Kelly's team. But not saying a lot, barely, because I think that Kelly's team is absolutely stacked. So her barely, in my opinion, being the weakest is still a very good compliment, because Kelly's team is absolutely stacked. But I think that Johanna's voice is amazing. She's a star. She's young. And I could actually see her getting the coach's pick or the third place pick for Kelly's team too. So this is just my opinion. I don't think she will. I think she'll be that 4th place getter. But honestly, if voting was different, I think she would have a chance to make it through to the next round if they just did the top 10 vote getters total move on, not 2 on each team or whatever, and then 1 instant save just to keep the teams fair. I don't know, but yeah. So coming in at 9, I have Dana Monique. she's somebody that I was also underrating throughout the entire season. She's a powerhouse, and this is kind of, when I was talking about Jordan and Kenzie splitting votes, this is kind of the same thing that I have here. This could go one of two ways. Dana could get the clear vote on Team Nick, right? But we'll see what happens, because Dana, Pia, and Zane are all kind of the powerhouse female vocalists this season, and they're all kind of very similar. So if they split votes 3 ways, this may end up hurting Dana down the road, right? But I think that there's going to be one of those 3 who moves on to the top 9, and me personally, I think it's going to be Dana Monique. For right now, I have her being the coach's pick. I love her presence on stage. It's absolutely amazing. The facial expressions that she does when she sings is just hilarious, and I've been a fan of her this whole season long, and I've been underrating her also, and I didn't think she had all that in her when she sang her Knockout, when she sang Nutbush, and that was absolutely amazing. I absolutely loved it. I loved the power and the presence that she had, and just to work the stage and just do all that was absolutely amazing. So yeah, coming in at 8, this may be a little low for some of you guys, but this is Kenzie Wheeler, and this is could be an interesting season, because I could definitely see this being where there's no country this season, and honestly, that may shock me if that happens. But when I say no country, I mean no country in the finale, because we'll see. Because I think that Jordan has the potential to lose this week. So does Kenzie, because of how stacked Kelly's team is. But honestly, right now, Kenzie is my 3rd place vote getter for Team Kelly, and I think that if that happens, I think that Kenzie would get into the top 9, just because I know he has a large fan base for country, and I think that he would be in the top 9 for sure if he gets that 3rd place vote. But honestly, Kelly loves Kenzie. Kelly wants to continue with Kenzie because she blocked Blake he blocked Blake when Kenzie sang in the auditions, preventing Kenzie from being with Blake. So maybe Kelly feels like she needs to keep Kenzie around. We'll see. But that's just my personal opinion. I think that it's going to be very close over Team Kelly, and I think that Kenzie may end up getting that 3rd place vote and have the thing instant save. So yeah. Coming in at 7, I have Anna Grace, and this is honestly just preference. So her voice is very unique, and I'm a fan of her voice. It's so original. It's just so, her tone is instantly recognizable, in my opinion. Like, if you hear her, you know it's her type of thing, and she's absolutely amazing. That's why she's at 7. I thought that her take on If I Die Young was one of the more interesting covers I've ever heard on this show, because it was just I was so taken back by it, and I wasn't expecting it to be that slowed down for sure, and it was absolutely amazing. And the only issue that she's on Team Blake, right? And Team Blake has a lot of stars, and I think that Anna may end up being the one that just falls short here. I'm hoping that's not true, but I honestly don't know who Blake would use his coach's pick on if it happens to be between Anna, Jordan, and Pete. I don't know. I'm just going with a gut feeling that he's going to be picking Pete, but I think he can honestly go with any one of them for sure. So it's going to be very tight this week. And coming in at 6, we have Rachel Mack. This is honestly probably a preference too, because I know a lot of people were like, she didn't even deserve to win her battle. Bradley was better. She didn't even deserve to win her knockout. Zay was better. In my opinion, Rachel's stepped up to the plate every time that she's sung, and she's getting better and better each week, and she's young. And to sing Foolish Games as a 16-year-old, that is a tough song to do, right? It requires so much emotion, and you have to control an audience so well, and she did just that, if not more. And honestly, she was one of my favorites this season, or so far this season, I had her before I made like a top 20 first, and then I kind of rearranged after I heard everybody, and she was like 3 or 4 in my rankings before I heard of before I watched back and heard other people, just because I think that she is the front runner on Team Nick, and I think that she has that pretty much locked up, so that's why I had her so high. But I feel like there's other people on the show who are just a little better than her, so that's why she comes in at 6 here. So now for my top 5, at 5th place, I have Victor Solomon. This is the second to last artist from Team John, and he, right now, would be my coach's pick. I think that if it came down to it, John would definitely pick Victor. Victor sang a song from him in an audition, and his presence on stage is just amazing. His voice is just terrific. He's a star for sure, and he's somebody to watch out for to be in the finale. I think that it's going to be real close. And honestly, I think that if the voting happened just off of like how it used to be, where you just vote off your favorite. Team John and Team Kelly could have two people in the finale each in a 5-person finale, just because of because I think Victor and Riley are just both really amazing vocalists, and I think that they both deserve to be in the finale. So it's gonna be very interesting to me to see which one of those two gets the America's pick every week. I think it's gonna come down to one of them two for sure for Team John. It's just gonna be a matter of which one gets more votes. So yeah, coming in at 4, I would say Romeo, and I think that he is gonna be the coach's pick for Team Kelly this year. He is an absolutely amazing vocalist. I'm a huge fan of Zay. The presence that he has on stage is amazing. I thought that his battle round was kind of fell short for me just a tad. I think it may have been nerves, but I think that Lindsay kind of showed a little bit more. I'm glad that Zay stayed around, though. It's kind of when Taylor and Micah went head-to-head a couple seasons ago, where Micah won, but maybe Micah didn't deserve to win. I think that came down to who she thinks she can go farther on the show, and I agreed with the decision. I thought that Micah could have gone farther on the show than Taylor did, and obviously we all know how that ended. Micah ended up being the finale and getting 4th or 5th place, so it worked out pretty well. So yeah, and then with Zay, his tone is amazing, his presence on stage is amazing, the power he can get with his voice is just amazing, and then his take on Electric Love was one of the more interesting things I've heard on this show this season. And honestly, he's probably one of my favorite battles, or favorite knockouts. Probably top 3 in favorite knockouts this season, along with Corey and probably Cam. But I think that Zay's kind of raspiness that he showed in the chorus part of that song was very interesting, because I hadn't heard that from him yet. You didn't hear that from him in Without the Stars Were Falling. So hearing that rasp that he has in his voice, it stunned me. Like, I got instant goosebumps when I heard him do that, because I didn't think he had that in his arsenal, and he just keeps surprising me more and more each week. I think he will continue to do that. I think that Kelly's a pretty big fan of him. I mean, Kelly has said numerous times, I thought that Zay should have won that battle. I just got a steal, right? Like, I thought Zay did better than Rachel or whatever. I think that Nick made a big mistake or whatever. I think that all those reasons kind of go to how much Kelly loves Zay, and I think that it's definitely going to come down to maybe who gets Kelly in the best in the moment between maybe really all 4 of them, because I think all 4 of them could get the America's pick or the coach's pick for sure. So we'll see what happens, though. It's coming in at 3. We have Corey Ward, and honestly, if I had to pick one person on Team Kelly that was going to win the show, it would be Corey. The emotion that he puts into his voice, the fact that he sang Kelly's song, I mean, it's just amazing what he does. And honestly, he has kind of a story to back it up with. I mean, he didn't make it on the show last season, and he's gone from that to being a front runner this season. And he's somebody to watch out for. I think that there's a very good chance we see him in the finale. And I think that with his voice, the sky is the limit for him on this show. And I think he just needs to continue doing more emotional songs, like maybe The Reason from Callum Scott. You know, you are the reason from Callum Scott. That could be a good one to showcase more emotion. He already did one Callum Scott song, Dancing on My Own, or Robin song. But yeah, I think it's going to be very close for Corey. But I think that Corey will sneak out at the top on Team Kelly for sure. So yeah. Coming in at 2, we have Riley Modig. And a comparison that I want to make with Riley is she kind of reminds me of Addison Agen, but like less country, right? Addison Agen had that country folkiness to her, but she had that very unique tone where she was able to put a lot of emotion into it, and she can do a lot of things with her voice. Riley reminds me of Addison, and we all know what happened. Addison got to the top 2 and then lost to Chloe Kohanski for the Voice Championship, right? I think this could be a similar story. I think Riley could get to the finale, and I think that she has definite potential to win the show, but I think that she could be the front runner on Team John this year. It's going to be close between her and Victor, but if she wins that out, I think that she'll have a chance to win the show for sure. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I love the tone in her voice, the falsetto that she has is just amazing. She is some of my favorite performances this season. So yeah, coming in at 1, and honestly, I think that right now, if I had to pick anyone to win the show, it would be this guy right here. It's going to be Cam Anthony. And Cam, absolute stunner every time I hear him sing. His presence is just amazing. He just smiles when he sings. He loves to be on stage for how young he is. He's an absolutely fantastic vocalist. And honestly, he's somebody to watch out for. and I love the scatting he did in his knockout. That was my favorite knockout of the season, and honestly probably one of my favorite knockouts ever on this show. He just surprised me, and yeah, I thought that was absolutely amazing. Cam is someone to watch out for, and I think that he is the front runner, and Blake could be looking for win number 6 here for sure. So maybe 6. I think it's 6 now, isn't it? 6 or 7 now. I'm not sure if he won with Todd, or I'm not sure when he won with Todd, if it was 5 or 6. But whatever the case may be, he's looking for another trophy to his collection. So yeah. So now just to wrap this up, I believe they are going from 17-9. So just so I can give like a summary of what I think is going to happen on Team Blake, I think Cam Anthony and Pete Morose are going to get the 2 spots, and then I think that on Team Nick it's going to be Rachel and Dana. And then on Team John, Victor and Riley. And then Team Kelly, Corey and Zay. And then for the instant save, I think it's going to be Jordan, Jose, Zanea, and Kenzie. Then out of those 4 people, I think that Kenzie would win that instant save. So I think the top 9 would have 3 from Team Kelly, then 2 from the rest of the teams. But we'll see what happens. Like I said before, these were some of the hardest rankings I had to do. That's why this video is so long, because I'm a big fan of a lot of these artists. The knockouts were some of like the best knockouts I've ever heard in my life this season. Probably my favorite knockout rounds ever on The Voice. It was absolutely amazing. Everyone did such a great job, and everyone is so talented. And I can't wait to react to their live performances on Monday. But like I said before, it may take me a little bit longer to get the reactions out to you guys, and it may end up being probably maybe a week after it happens. I'm hopefully gonna try and get some videos out that the week next week, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I know it was long, but I'm just so passionate about The Voice and all these artists. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I will be back with more videos later. Thank you guys for watching.